KOMMER STRAX. Hey. KOMMER STRAX.
Pure Evil. I'm based in London. I run a gallery called Pure Evil Gallery, original name. And right now I'm in Stockholm doing a show with you guys, hanging out. And this is Scarlett Gallery. I bumped into them a while ago in London and they said come out and do a show. And in the last month it's been Cologne, Amsterdam, Paris, Stockholm, London. So it's been just bouncing around doing this show and kind of touring it around. So I've always liked that idea of being kind of a circus. You roll into town, you know, you erect the big top, do a couple of shows and then leave. I think I'm just trying to do Eurorail at the moment. I'm just doing as many shows in Europe as I can. A friend of mine said that Europe's been good to him recently with like doing exhibitions, and it's also being able to travel on a budget. You know, it's just getting 2 big boxes of stuff, getting onto a flight, showing up, whacking some nails up, and then just going for it. And that's important. It's being able to sort of do it on a low budget, not having to put too much money into it. And then, you know, you sell a few paintings here, you sell a few paintings there, you just, you know, make some prints. And the funnest thing about this trip was we basically went round to Matt from Scarlett Gallery's house. He'd set up a little screen printing table, which you get a vacuum cleaner that goes into it to keep the paper down, and it was totally ghetto. And we had all the prints laid out. We were trying to do the spraying in the garden and it was windy and we used the washing line. But it's kind of like that's how it should be, you know. It's just allowing mistakes and allowing marks and allowing things to kind of screw up, putting the stencil backwards and going, actually I quite like it like that, and not having it just, okay, Mr. Screen Printing Man, I'm sending you over the tiff, you know. So it's a lot more fun, and if you allow those accidents to happen, you get the happy accidents, you know. I basically grew up in the countryside in Wales. I was kind of a weird kid. I used to dress up like Simon Le Bon and Spandau Ballet, Duran Duran, and most of the other kids around there were into sort of heavy metal and all kinds of stuff. And it was pretty funny growing up in that area, being into fashion, being into streetwear. And then streetwear took me to London. I did a degree in streetwear. And then streetwear took me to California. I went out there and got a job doing streetwear. Got into doing t-shirt graphics, got into making music, got into the rave scene in a big way, got into weapons grade psychedelics, taking lots of those. And but I started to notice a lot of graffiti in San Francisco. A lot of people like Twist, a lot of people like Reminisce who were doing character graffiti. And I came back to London after about 10 years and saw an explosion of graffiti in sort of the Shoreditch area. People like Bast, Fail, Banksy were getting up. UK guys like Pablo Fiasco were getting up and doing crazy stencils. So it was just kind of fun to go out, drunk, stenciling, and then go home, wash your hands, change your jacket, go back out, photograph it, and get that kind of buzz of, you know, almost getting caught, or walk around with a massive pole with a spray can on the end and try to do, you know, sort of 3-story high graffiti really badly. And it wasn't trying to be, you know, sort of a trained painter or anything like that. It was just trying to get up and trying to have fun doing stencils. And that thrill became more freehand when I started painting Pure Evil bunny rabbits. It was just this kind of, you know, three-legged, 2-headed, you know, ... thing. And when people started to go, oh, I like your work, I saw it, you know, when I see it going to work, it cheers me up. You realize that you have an impact and people start to notice your work. You know, when you talk to some Japanese clothing buyers and they go, oh yeah, I know that logo, that thing, I've seen it. And so you're always, you know, taught with a t-shirt label to, you know, have a brand and have a label and have a this and a that. But it became less important. What became more important was actually going out and painting and doing graffiti. And, you know, the actual thrill of it. It's quite a selfish thing, it's quite an ego thing, but it's a lot of fun, you know, it really is. When you actually sort of start to get into maybe doing prints or maybe doing canvases, or someone wants you to include some work into a show. You know, you do a Santa's Ghetto on Oxford Street, do a little bit of work there, put out a print with pictures on walls, things start to kind of evolve and things start to move, you know?
You know, like what is the term getting up? You know, like what does it mean to you? How's it, who are you and what?
Getting up means when you're in Mongolia, you go out and paint bunny rabbits. When you're in Moscow, you go out and paint bunny rabbits. When you're in China, you go out and paint bunny rabbits. So you kind of spread the virus. You just go out there and paint. When you get a chance to paint a big mega wall, you go out and do that. A lot of artists right now are going big. A lot of artists are using cherry pickers and scaffolding so they can get as big as possible. People like Roa, who are coming to Stockholm in February, are smashing it. They're traveling all over the world. So I think a lot of people who are trying to be sort of New York 1980s don't really interest me as much as people who are trying to be right here, right now, doing their thing. People whose style looks more like maybe an engraving, or people whose style looks more like Ferdinand Leger, or someone's style is putting up tiny little prostitutes that are that big on the side of a street corner. So you're just walking along the street and you see these little characters standing there, these little kind of mini little borrowers, and that's the stuff that excites me. People come to town in London who start getting up. You don't know who they are. You want to find out who they are. You want to meet them. You want to get their work into the gallery. And I guess also getting up is doing shows, and getting up is also organising shows for other artists, and kind of pushing the movement forward. I feel like street art as a movement is growing, and it's in our hands where it's going, and it's in our hands to control, big companies that want to just kind of take a piece of it. It's like working out, well, yeah, I want to do that, but no, I don't want to do that. And it's nice to have those choices.